are entities, not from here, but who look like us. They look like humans, but they're not fully human.
This whole world is much different than its official narrative. Earthlings are humans, but not all humans are earthlings. We gradually are imparted the epiphany that leads to rapid advancement. Had this planet been less evil, Nikola Tesla would have succeeded.
And so we say they look like us. No, in fact, we look like them. They made us in their image and likeness. And when you read in the Bible in the beginning, which I will be showing you, when it says God created man, and God created man. And point of fact, the Bible does not say God created man. It's not saying that at all. It's saying that God has recreated man. You'll see all of this in the scriptures, but the point I want to make here for this whole presentation is that we are the product of a higher civilization who is watching us, and they are the ones that we have talked about for thousands of years as the gods. The Greeks had their gods, the Babylonians had their gods, all the ancient cultures talked about they who have come down from above, the gods. They were supernatural, but they looked like men. They were messing around with women, but they were not from here. They were supernatural. I think there's something to that. I think that's very true. And I think that they're still messing around with us today. So I want to make the difference. I want the difference to be made in your mind between angels and sons of God. Angels are...
And many other social agendas that were in the plans to be indoctrinated into the American people. Simply put, Hollywood began as a production source for propaganda, mass psychology, and social engineering. All the while, underneath the veil, working from a base level with dark spirits and Kabbalah magic by wizards.
Inked by those elites who only such a task to spin the people into a bewilderment that was difficult enough, simply liddy-like, yet held it to the veer, had confusion that made them cling to it, which had been long go it prior to the real trickery that they began to lay upon the past century.
But had the idea that would have brought Tesla back to Washington, D.C. in November than the march into the White House to fulfill the vision you lured him back a decade prior. This would be the last year before Agenda 2030.
Now 2025 could be prevented in the vision he held along with that bad opponent he had come across to describe a circumstance that would see a man leading a group of matches into the White House to then reach the inside of the Oval Office and halting as the Secret Service spouse eventually
give the go-ahead for this leader of the march to approach the president. But that, along with every other aspect of the past decade's plans, had been explicitly sabotaged despite efforts made at momentum started only to be squashed each time into this, what had become of it, a shit show beyond any imaginable. And as any other ever brewed went out on purpose as each one proved unworthy. The time set yet as it had, it processed for what purpose it no longer mattered in. But Lucifer knew that the alone thing didn't matter anymore, yet here he had to continue in it, so what was the purpose to the baller?
24. The Tempest of Trials. Tesla 2.0, also known as Brad, found himself in a vortex of trials, ensnared in a web spun by the controllers, the puppet masters who seemed hell-bent on his downfall. From his past life as Tesla to his current incarnation, their influence has been a persistent shadow, a dark labyrinthine construct of betrayal and manipulation. In the interlude between his lives, Brad's decision-making abilities faltered, leading to grave errors in his life blueprint. The choice of his allies, even Lilith, whom he envisaged as critical pillars of support, turned out to be a disastrous misstep. Now, 41 years into his journey, they seemed more like formidable adversaries, their alliance tainted by a relentless campaign of subversion.